my privilege to welcome you to the second edition of this annual lecture, Asia and Africa in Conversation. Today, more than 60% of refugees and 80% of IDPs globally live in cities. And while they are often left out of public services and protection systems, they are very much part of the city's lifeblood as workers, as entrepreneurs, as neighbors, and indeed, as city makers.
All of us are change makers. All of us need to feed this connection. So my hope today as a researcher is that we use evidence and use data as a basis to engage in a local conversation about global issues, to not just look at what needs to be done, but how we need to bring about change.
How then do we shift these narratives from vulnerability to capacity, especially when it comes to migration? So that instead of us seeing migrants as a burden, how do we tell the stories of street vendors, of masons, of border riders who actively are shaping the city's economy and culture?
What unites cities and camp spaces is then perhaps not the slumification, something that Mike Davis has gestured towards, although this is certainly also the case for the world's majority, but the normalization of militarized occupation.
This is not only a time for action, although we do need a lot of action, but it's also a time for reimagining what that action might be. Reimagining how we understand protection, how we build solidarities, and how we craft strategies that may not yet have names.
I know what it means to carry out of luggage. I know what it means to be a refugee. Being a refugee is not a curse. Being a refugee is circumstantial. So when I see leaders really building barriers, not thinking of what can be done about refugees, I feel very sorry, because in Africa, in the world, everybody is a potential refugee.
Part of the problem with sometimes the policy sector is this desire for neutrality, right? This, must be neutral. Well, sometimes neutral isn't always saying that everything is fair on both sides, right? So maybe that's what we should be able to do, be a bit bolder in that regard.
One of the things that we are trying to do as researchers, especially when it comes to knowledge production and trying to infuse this knowledge into practice, is by actually bringing practitioners, planners themselves in these processes of engaging communities, so that they get to see these things firsthand, experience them, and we believe that by bringing them into the realities that communities are facing, this is part of the whole process that he talks about, starting from the bottom of the pyramid. The real practitioners who engage with these issues so that they can start effecting change, eventually transform policy.